Hey, Alex here, and I wanted to wax lyrical today on an idea that sort of came to me in an epiphany recently, and I'm sure it's come to me in various other epiphanies in various other forms, but I wanted to immortalize the idea in video for today before I forget it, and I'd like to really emphasize the importance of this idea because it's been so important looking back on all my successes. So I'm going to propose to you the idea that the secret to success is not necessarily talent. Of course it plays a role. It's not genes. It's not getting started. It's not finishing projects. It's not good health. Of course these are all things that contribute, but I think the key, the absolute key, the magic bullet, the vital aspect of success in all areas, I would say, I'm going to just go out there and say in all areas, is momentum. Momentum. And it's not momentum itself that is the key to success. It's what happens when you are in momentum, regardless of what it is that you're doing. Obviously, having momentum with negative habits is not a good thing. I'm talking about momentum in terms of what is good for you. So you're going to have to choose the right things initially, of course, but momentum is where you want to arrive at in whatever endeavor you set out to do, whether it be becoming a well-known, well-rewarded artist, to being a coach, to being a CEO of a business, to creating a successful startup company, to investing, whatever it is. You need to figure out a way to create momentum in your life, in whatever avenue you're working on. So you want to create momentum in your family, you want to create momentum in your relationships, you want to create momentum in your businesses, and obviously momentum is a pretty, to the untrained eye, is a pretty obvious solution to success, but I think it's underrated and underspoken about. And I think if we have a strategy in mind that elevates the need to build momentum, we're going to avoid a lot of heartache and a lot of doing things in the wrong areas that we spend too much time with, when really what we need to do is find momentum. So, for example, using my own example of making videos here on YouTube, my momentum is starting to be seen. I've put out close to 30 videos every single day in the last 3 weeks plus. And it's been a bit of a push because every day I've been doing something that I haven't gotten used to. So it's quite new to me to formulate a new idea in mind and sit down and come up with a 10-minute plus video to talk about whatever it is in depth. But now that I've been doing it every day, I'm seeing and feeling that sense of momentum. Momentum being the benefits you get through accumulation with consistency, and the energy buildup that comes through that, most of all, is the key thing. It's all about the energy that momentum creates in yourself. So it's not momentum itself that's important, it's the energy that comes out of momentum. So think about it in terms of the analogy of pushing a rock up a hill, or just pushing a rock across a flat piece of ground. Obviously the initial stages of it are going to be tough. You're pushing with all your might. You might have to use a lever to get the rock to move, and it takes a ton of pressure and energy. And this is why a lot of people give up, because that's the initial stage of most journeys, is trying to push that rock from a sitting position. But once the rock starts to roll and to move, it takes a lot less energy to move the rock along, in the same way that it takes a lot less energy to maintain whatever it is you're doing once you have momentum. So momentum is effectively another way of saying gaining an unfair advantage, because when it comes to the push of doing whatever it is you need to be doing in that given day, if you have momentum and you've been doing it day after day after day, and you have been building the skills and experience that comes with daily practice, momentum is going to give you an unfair advantage, because it's going to give you free energy. It's going to give you less of a requirement to push hard like you would in the initial stages of that process, if that makes sense. So again, with the video example, right now I have momentum. I'm finding my creative juices are really running. I'm finding my ideas are coming easily. I'm finding a sense of lift that I can't really explain, but I know that it's the momentum. I know that it's the daily checking in and doing it regardless of how I feel. And of course this builds my own skills and my own experience in these things. And that's what I wanted to say, really. Just whatever you do in life, know that more than anything else, above skill and above talent and above sort of trying to figure out things and try to plan things, find momentum in whatever it is you do. And momentum comes through consistency, it comes through doing things when you don't feel like doing them, and it comes from a commitment. You have to make a firm commitment in what you do, because nothing really comes out of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of doing something. Things really start to get interesting when you start pushing past the 30-day mark. Habits are formed usually within 66 days. This is why people talk about the slight edge, the compounding effect, the accumulation effect, the need to check in and show up every day, because it's not about that per se, it's about the momentum that comes from that, and ultimately it's about the energy that momentum creates in you. It creates extra resources to make things easier and easier. Your body starts to acclimatize to the way that you do things, and you start to gain that unfair advantage. Success in many ways is about gaining the unfair advantage. We live in a very noisy, competitive world, and if you haven't got an advantage over someone else, I know that it sounds morally repugnant in some ways to talk about having unfair privileges and advantages, but that is the way of nature, it is the way of life. You've got to figure out how to get your own unfair advantage, and one of the, if not the apex unfair advantage of them all, isn't the color of your skin, the experiences that you've had, the talents that you have, the natural talents, your parents, your inheritance. They all help, of course, but I think the apex unfair advantage, the key unfair advantage that anyone who wants success should go for is momentum. Move when you don't feel like moving, commit to consistency, commit to persevering every single day, and momentum is becoming more and more elusive as well, if you think about it, because as competition increases and as more and more people enter the marketplace and as the cacophony and the noise goes up, you're going to have to do more to rise above the noise. You're going to have to do more to gain momentum, because you're going to see fewer results sooner, if you see what I mean. So it takes possibly in many areas of life even more of a push to stay consistent and to see momentum start to build up. But in many cases, you'll see that momentum regardless. And for me, that's the key to success, and it's something to really bear in mind in whatever strategy you take, including things like relationships. You've got to keep plates spinning. You have to keep things moving. You have to avoid becoming static with every fiber of your being. This is what leads to depression. This is what leads to frustration. But obviously, frustration can be a very expected feature of the journey required to build momentum. But you know what I mean. Momentum is everything. The reason we have this word in our vocabulary that is from the Roman times suggests something of its significance. It's a Roman word, it is an ancient word, and it is a very significant, powerful word in our vocabulary as people who want to achieve and want to succeed. Build momentum in all those avenues of life that are important. Figure out how to do it and figure out what momentum looks like for you. And you will start to see yourself gaining an unfair advantage, gaining unfair sources and resources of energy, like I'm seeing with these this video production. This is why you see some people who seem to be complete animals productively and so prolific. It's like, where did that come from? It comes from momentum. It comes from showing up. Questions, comments, let me know, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.